Today, I would like to do a book haul. Um, these probably won't happen very often. I don't buy books. I might do one if I went to the library and checked out a bunch of stuff. But I had a friend who sent me a bunch of books, and I bought a bunch of books because the library is closed and I needed some tangible books. It's fine. Everything is fine. Got distracted by a neighbor. So I made a post on Facebook about how I was just really sick. I don't know if sick's the right word. Annoyed that I didn't have any tangible books to read. Like, ebooks are fine. I usually have one tangible book, one ebook, and one audiobook going at the same time. But all ebooks, I was just getting a little slogged down. So I was like, I want to go buy books. And my friend's like, hey, I got some books. Do you want some? I was like, sure. Give me a random selection. So they came. So let's talk through them. The first book is Sherlock Holmes. Well, it's the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and it has all of it's complete and unabridged. I'm a huge Sherlock fan. I've read like Sign of Four, Study in Scarlet, Hound of the Baskervilles, but a lot of them that's in like this little short story thing I have not read. So this will be fun to read. And I'll imagine Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman as Sherlock and Watson, because who else? I guess you could do Robert Downey Jr. and what the heck is his name? The guy who plays Dumbledore in Fantastic Beasts. Oh, my fangs are dumb. That dude. Yeah, okay, cool. So next in the box, the surprise box, was Jane Austen, 4 complete novels. This includes Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Emma, and Persuasion. I've read Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice is like my all-time favorite book, but I have not read Emma or Persuasion. I know that the movie came out and everybody really loved it, so I'm one of those people who have to read the book before I see the movie. So maybe I'll get this book read soon. Well, Emma at least. Next book in the box is Julie and Julia by Julie Powell. Cute movie, great book. I read it back in like whatever year the movie came out. Because like I said, I have to read the book before I see the movie. And I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to reading it. That's a good comfort read. This is a good read for like when I'm just not feeling the entire world, which, same. Next in the surprise box was Olive Kitteridge by Elizabeth Strout. I know that this is one of those books where you either really like it or you want to burn it in a pile of trash. I've started it. I'm about 42 pages into it. And it's a book. I think it's interesting. I think I understand where it's going, but I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. I can't decide how I feel about Olive Kitteridge. We'll see how that goes. Next in the surprise box is Stephen King's Pet Sematary. I have a history with Stephen King. I have attempted to read Salem's Lot, Needful Things, and maybe It. There was another one, I don't remember what it was. I usually get most of the way through one, and then I'm like too scared and I can't finish it. Needful Things screwed me up. Like, I think about that book a lot. Like, probably once a week, my brain just pops into Needful Things. Like, oh, remember that scene in Needful Things? And I'm like, I do remember that scene in Needful Things. And then maybe a year or so ago, I caught the movie of Needful Things. Yeah, that made it worse. But I've seen Pet Sematary and I remember really liking it. It was just like one of those times where I was just like flipping through the TV and it was on and I just needed noise and I'm like, sure, whatever. It's October, I'll watch a Stephen King. And so I enjoyed it. I have not seen the new one, but it was the older one, the 19 bleh. So this will be interesting. I'll probably save this for October and probably maybe just read sort of more horror, scary type books in October. We'll see. Next in the box is Harlan Coben's Tell No One. I've read this book. I read this book back in 2011. Let me check. Yes, 2011. It's good. I mean, it's a Harlan Coben novel, so it's readable. I don't remember what it was about, though. Something about some dude's wife who is dead, but maybe not dead. I don't know. Typical thriller novel type stuff. So yeah, this is Harlan Coben's another really good book to just get lost in if you just want to read something. So if you haven't read a Harlan Coben, wow, English, I would read this one. And then the other book in the box, I guess this is the last book in the box, is Harlan Coben's The Woods, which I also read. I read this back in 2010. And I gave it 4 stars. And according to my my Goodreads review, I thought it had a lot of twists and turns and it didn't end the way I thought it would, which is pretty standard for Harlan Coben novels. So this is another one that'd be fun to just like get lost in if I just want to sit down and read a book one day, just an entire book. It's a good thing if you want to just like sit down and read and just get lost in a book. And every Harlan Coben I've read, and I think I've read a couple other ones beyond The Woods and Tell No One, it's just like, what's going to happen? And then it happens, you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that to happen. Well, that affects this. And it just goes on and on and on. So I'm excited to read this one again. I'm not sure when, probably in June. We'll just kind of see how quickly I get through my May TBR, which will go up in a couple days. So, does anybody else not like know how to sit in chairs? I don't sit normally. My feet are on the floor. I'm usually sitting on my foot or cross-legged. Is it crisscross applesauce nowadays? So my foot fell asleep. So yeah, I can't sit in a chair. Not much more I can say about that. So I bought books. I bought books from Book Outlet. It was the first time I've ever bought books from Book Outlet. I enjoyed the process. It was fun. They are a company that sells like overstock books, or they couldn't sell it, they get it, and so a lot of times you'll get like a price sticker on it, or there might be a little wear and tear. I loved all the books that came from my thingy, so let's talk about them first. The first book that was in the box was The Break by Marian Keyes. This is about a woman whose husband wants to go on a break for a while, for like 6 months. But is it really just 6 months? I don't know. I don't know what it's about. I've been wanting to try a Marian Keyes novel, but they're like impossible to find. My library doesn't have any of the ones I wanted to read. And so Book Break had a couple, and so I grabbed this one. This book actually came from the United Kingdom, so that's exciting. It's a big book. Holy crackers. It's goodness gracious. 660 pages long. And it's tiny-ish type. Not terrible, but I think this will be a fun, like, long weekend read. So that's exciting. Next in the box was The Cuban Affair by Nelson DeMille. This was actually a scratch and dent. Scratch and dents, usually there's just like a minor little bit of like damage. Now a little cover damage. It just looks like I bought a used book. It's fine. And I'm not entirely sure what this one is about. Let's see. After 5 years in the Army as an infantry officer with 2 tours in Afghanistan, 35-year-old Mac has settled in Key West with a silver star, 2 Purple Hearts, scars that don't tan, and a big charter fishing boat with an even bigger bank loan. When Carlos, a hotshot Miami lawyer heavily involved with anti-Castro groups, approaches Mac for a covert mission, Mac's interest is piqued. He agrees to meet Carlos's clients. Wow. You'd think I would know how to read. A mysterious older Cuban exile, Eduardo Velasquez, and a beautiful young Cuban-American woman named Sarah Ortego. Their mission? To recover $60 million hidden in Cuba by Sarah's grandfather when he fled Castro's revolution. Mac understood that if he accepts this job, he'll either walk away rich or not at all. I don't know. It's Cuba. It's I don't know what you call this, like a thriller or whatever. It seems like a good escape read. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. Like, look at that. That is just freaking gorgeous. And it just makes me want to, like, go someplace. So, this should be an interesting read. Ooh, Shiza. Throwing books on the floor, which is difficult to get when you're sitting on your foot. So next in the box is Bridget Kemmerer's A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I had plans to check this out from the library before it closed. And I never got to the library in time, so the cover is also really pretty. Like, I love book covers. This one is gorgeous. I love this shade of blue. This, from what I understand, is more or less a retelling of, or reimagining, I guess, of Beauty and the Beast. That's all I need to know. And just everybody I know who's read it says it's really, really good. So I'm looking forward to read that in May. Next book I purchased is Jane Harper's The Dry. I really don't know what this book is about. I don't know what... I got 2 Jane Harper books. I just know that everybody who's read a Jane Harper likes it. And they're books I was going to check out from the library anyway. Might as well buy them. See what the back says. Federal agent Aaron Falk hasn't been back to the place where he grew up ever since he and his father were run out of town 20 years ago. Even now, when Falk first gets word that his childhood best friend Luke is dead, he has no intention of going back. But then he gets a note. Luke lied. You lied. Be at the funeral. And just like that, Falk is swept back into the world he vowed to leave behind for good. Back in his hometown, Falk is asked by Luke's parents to find the truth about what really happened to their son. Because something about Luke's death just doesn't add up. Soon, amid the worst drought in a century, a series of long-buried mysteries rises to the surface. Falk knows that life and death is never quite as it appears. Still, nothing could have prepared him for this. Sounds riveting. No, it really does. And I like the cover, too. It's not shiny, like it's flat. Well, I guess the dry, I don't know, does kind of. I get that, yeah. I have a little bit of glitter to it, but I like prairie images and clouds and stuff. I paint them a lot, so. In the next book I bought is Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff. This has been on my to-read list since like 2015, whatever it was. What is the copyright date? Yeah, 2015. I don't know, it just sounds like an interesting sort of relationship-y book. The little blurb says, a landmark novel about marriage, power, and perception written by one of the best writers of her generation. And I know that Barack Obama said this was his favorite book of 2015, I think. So it's just always been on my list, and for some odd reason, I've just never made time. So why not make time now? I have all the time in the world. So next, and I think this is actually the first book in that series that The Dry is in. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. But this is The Lost Man, also by Jane Harper. And the little blurb on the back says, brothers Nathan and Bub Bright meet for the first time in months at the remote fence line separating their cattle ranches. Their third brother, Cameron, lies dead at their feet. In the lonely Australian outback, their homes a 3-hour drive apart, the brothers were one another's nearest neighbors. Nathan and Bub return to Cameron's ranch, to those left behind by his passing. While the family grieves Cameron's loss, suspicion starts to take hold. As if someone forced Cameron to his death, the isolation of the outback leaves few suspects. All these books sound amazing. I can't wait to read them. I love books so much. I got 3 more books left in this box. I think I bought 9 books and spent around $50. That's fantastic for books. The shipping took a while. It took like a little under 10 days, but I'm not too mad about that, mostly just because shipping in general right now is just a little bit discombobulated. Just because, the schedules are different. They're having to disinfect trucks and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm fine with that, especially because shipping was free because I spent over $35. And not everything could be Amazon. But so the next book in the box that I bought is Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. Once again, freaking gorgeous cover. Like, maybe I should become a cover designer. That would be awesome. I should look into that. I was not aware of this book, but one of the booktubers I follow mentioned it, and I just thought it sounded really interesting. Basically, a body of a child shows up, and she, wakens, and they're just trying to kind of figure it out, and there's just some weird things that happen. I don't know. Can't really explain it. The little blurb says, Once Upon a River is a glorious tapestry of a book that combines folklore and science, magic and myth. Suspenseful, romantic, and richly atmospheric, this novel will sweep you away on a powerful current of storytelling, transporting you through worlds both real and imagined. It just seems like a good book just to get lost in. And once again, the cover is so freaking pretty. I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but, covers help. There are a lot of times I pick up books that I probably would never have picked up for whatever reason. Author I don't know, title that just seems a little meh. But I pick it up because the cover is just stunning. And then I read it, and the book inside is just as stunning. I mean, not everything is winners. I've read some books with really gorgeous covers. Put Me to Sleep, 10,000 Januaries, or whatever the frick that book was called. Oh my goodness. Could not do it. Cover, gorgeous. Book, bleh. Second last book that I bought is Scythe by Neal Shusterman. And this is just sometimes you'll get Walmart price stickers or something on it. But, I mean, this book is brand new. Besides, all of them have a little, dot on the end that just says it's, overstock, basically. So, yeah. The book is about their the world. There's no hunger. There's no disease, no misery, no nothing. They have conquered death. So, population control. You can't have lots and lots of people. So, the 2 main characters are chosen to, let's just read the back. A world with no hunger, no disease, no war, no misery. Humanity has conquered all of those things, and has even conquered death. Now scythes are the ones who can end life, and they are commanded to do so in order to keep the size of the population under control. Citra and Rowan are chosen to apprentice to a scythe, a role that neither wants. These teens must master the art of taking life, knowing that the consequence of failure could mean losing their own. They learn living in a perfect world comes only with a heavy price. I've heard lots of good things about it. I want to try it, so I bought it. What more can I say? Last book in the box is The Woman Who Stole My Life by Marian Keyes. This is about a woman who is in a serious illness, has a serious illness, and she's in the hospital for a long time, and her doctor writes basically a memoir about it. And sorry, I got sidetracked. We'll just read the back. How about that? I'm really bad at describing books. I don't know. A lot of times, like, my husband will come downstairs. He's like, "So, do you like your book?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's good. It's about a..." Then I described it. He's like, "That book sounds awful." And I was like, "Because I'm awful at describing things." But yeah, so in her words, Stella Sweeney is just an ordinary woman living an ordinary life with her husband and 2 teenage kids. Working for her sister in their neighborhood beauty salon, till one day she is struck by a serious illness, landing her in the hospital for months. After recovering, Stella finds out that her neurologist, Dr. Mannix Taylor, has compiled and published a memoir, written in Stella's voice, about the illness. Her discovery comes when she spots a photo of the finished copy in an American tabloid. It's in the hands of the vice president's wife. Ooh, that's a hard word to say. President. As her relationship with Dr. Taylor gets more complicated, Stella struggles to figure out who she was before her illness, who she is now, and who she wants to be while relocating to New York City to pursue her career as a newly minted self-help memoirist. Funny, fast-paced, and honest, Keyes' latest novel is full of her trademark charm, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Once again, it's a Marian Keyes. I really want to read Grown Ups. I've heard it's really good. Can't seem to get it here. So I'm just going to read whatever I can from Marian Keyes and hope it works. So that's all of the books I bought or was given. I do have one book that I'm currently borrowing. A friend of mine let me borrow John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath, which will be my next book for rereading books I hated in high school and college. Or I guess high school, middle school. And I think I might add a book that I read in college that I didn't like, but we'll see if I can remember what the title was. I just remember reading a book I didn't like in college. I hate this book. I don't have any romantic notions that I'm going to like this book when I reread it. Most Steinbeck makes me want to ram my head through a wall. But I'm willing to try. I've got it, in manageable chunks. I'm going to give myself a couple weeks to read it. So Lord help me. I opened the book up. I just opened up to a random page and I read a paragraph and I was like, nope. But we'll see. I'll give it a try. I will give a good, honest try for it. I know that people like Steinbeck, but it's just not my thing. So we'll see how that goes. I do like the cover. This cover is much nicer than my copy that I had in high school. If I can find it, I'll put it in the video, but I just don't remember this book being so thick. How many pages is it? 600 something? It's 619 pages. I think I have it marked off in 68 pages or something like that. But most of the chapters are so long. Most of the chapters are 60 pages. I'm obviously really gonna love this. So yeah, those are the books that I will be reading over the next couple months. And then I've got some audiobooks and some ebooks, and all those things will be discussed when I do my TBR in the future. So, like always, stay safe, wash your hands, go ride a bike, and I don't know, go bird watching. Do something. I don't know. Yes, bird watch. So that's all. Happy reading, happy whatever. I'm a strange person.